One who is constantly practicing meditation is observed to have external perceptions. The Shrutis mention prarabdha work in the case of such a man, and we can infer this from results actually seen. Prarabdha work is acknowledged to persist so long as there is the perception of happiness and the like. Every result is preceded by an action, and nowhere it is seen to accrue independently of action. Through the realization of one's identity with Brahman, all the accumulated actions of 100 crore of cycles come to naught like the actions of dream state on awakening. Can the good actions or dreadful sins that a man fancies himself doing in the dream state lead him to heaven or hell after he has awakened from sleep? Realizing the Atma which is unattached and indifferent like the sky, the aspirant is never touched in the least by action yet to be done. The sky is not affected by the smell of liquor merely through its connection with the jar. Similarly, the Atma is not, through its connection with the limitations, affected by the properties thereof. The work which has fashioned this body prior to the dawning of knowledge is not destroyed by that knowledge without yielding its fruits, like the arrow shot at an object. The arrow which is shot at an object with the idea that it is a tiger does not, when that object is perceived to be a cow, check itself, but pierces the object with full force. Prarabdha work is certainly very strong for the man of realization and is spent only by the actual experience of its fruit, while the actions previously accumulated and those yet to come are destroyed by the fire of perfect knowledge. But none of the three at all affects those who, realizing their identity with Brahman, are always living absorbed in that idea. They are verily the transcendent Brahman. For the sage who lives in his own self as Brahman, the one without a second, devoid of identification with the limiting adjuncts, the question of the existence of prarabdha work is meaningless, like the question of a man who has awakened from sleep having any connection with the objects seen in the dream state. The man who has awakened from sleep never has any idea of I or mine with regard to his dream body and the dream objects that minister to that body, but lives quite awake as his own self. He has no desire to substantiate the unreal objects, nor is he seen to maintain the dream world. If he still clings to those unreal objects, he is emphatically declared to be not yet free from sleep. Similarly, he who is absorbed in Brahman lives identified with that eternal reality and beholds nothing else. As one has a memory of the objects seen in a dream, so the man of realization has a memory of the everyday actions such as eating. The body has been fashioned by karma, so one may imagine prarabdha work with reference to it, but it is not reasonable to attribute the same to the Atma, for the Atma is never the outcome of work. The Shrutis, whose words are infallible, declare the Atma to be birthless, eternal and undecaying. So the man who lives identified with that, how can prarabdha work be attributed? Prarabdha work can be maintained only so long as one lives identified with the body, but no one admits that the man of realization ever identifies himself with the body. Hence prarabdha work should be rejected in his case. The attributing of prarabdha work to the body even is certainly an error. How can something that is superimposed on another have any existence? And how can that which is unreal have a birth? And how can that which has not been born at all die? So how can prarabdha work exist for something that is unreal? If the effects of ignorance are destroyed with the root by knowledge, then how does the body live? It is to convince those fools who entertain a doubt like this that the Shrutis from a relative standpoint hypothesize prarabdha work, but not for proving the reality of the body etc. of the man of realization. There is only Brahman, the one without a second, infinite, without beginning or end, transcendent and changeless. There is no duality whatsoever in it. There is only Brahman, the one without a second, the essence of existence, knowledge and eternal bliss, and devoid of activity. There is no duality whatsoever in it. There is only Brahman, the one without a second, which is within all, homogeneous, infinite, endless and all-pervading. There is no duality whatsoever in it. There is only Brahman, the one without a second, which is neither to be shunned, nor taken up, nor accepted, and which is without any support. There is no duality whatsoever in it. There is only Brahman, the one without a second, beyond attributes, without parts, subtle, absolute, and taintless. There is no duality whatsoever in it. There is only Brahman, the one without a second, whose real nature is incomprehensible, and which is beyond the range of mind and speech. There is no duality whatsoever in it. There is only Brahman, the one without a second, the reality, effulgent, self-existent, pure, intelligent, and unlike anything finite. There is no duality whatsoever in it. High-souled sannyasins who have got rid of all attachment and discarded all sense enjoyments, and who are serene and perfectly restrained, realize this supreme truth and at the end attain the supreme bliss through their self-realization. Thou too discriminate this supreme truth, the real nature of the self, which is bliss undiluted, and shaking off thy delusion created by thy own mind, be free and illumined, and attain the consummation of thy life. Through the samadhi in which the mind has been perfectly stilled, visualize the truth of the self with the eye of clear realization. If the meaning of the scriptural words heard from the Guru is perfectly and indubitably discerned, then it can lead to no more doubt. In the realization of the Atma, the existence, knowledge, bliss absolute, through the breaking of one's connection with the bondage of avidya or ignorance, the scriptures, reasoning, and the words of the Guru are the proofs, while one's own experience earned by concentrating the mind is another proof. Bondage, liberation, satisfaction, anxiety, recovery from illness, hunger, and other such things are known only to the man concerned, and knowledge of these to others is a mere inference. The Gurus as well as the Shrutis instruct the disciples standing aloof, while the man of realization crosses avidya through illumination alone, backed by the grace of God, himself knowing his indivisible self through his own realization and thus becoming perfect. A man should stand face to face with the Atma, with his mind free from dualistic ideas. The verdict of all discussions on the Vedanta is that the Jiva and the whole universe are nothing but Brahman, and that liberation means abiding in Brahman, the indivisible entity, while the Shrutis themselves are authority for the statement that Brahman is one without a second. Realizing at a blessed moment the supreme truth through the above instructions of the Guru, the authority of the scriptures, and his own reasoning, with his senses quieted and the mind concentrated, the disciple became immovable in form and perfectly established in the Atma. Concentrating the mind for some time on the Supreme Brahman, he rose and out of supreme bliss spoke as follows: My mind has vanished and all its activities have melted. By realizing the identity of the Self and Brahman, I do not know either this or not this, nor what or how much the boundless bliss of Samadhi is. The majesty of the ocean of Supreme Brahman, replete with the swell of nectar-like bliss of the Self, is verily impossible to express in speech, nor can it be conceived by the mind. In an infinitesimal fraction of which my mind melted like a hailstone, getting merged in the ocean, and is now satisfied with that essence of bliss. Where is the universe gone? By whom is it removed? And where is it merged? It was just now seen by me, and has it ceased to exist? It is passing strange. In the ocean of Brahman filled with the nectar of absolute bliss, what is to be shunned and what accepted? What is other than oneself and what different? I neither see nor hear nor know anything in this. I simply exist as the Self, the eternal bliss, distinct from everything else. Repeated salutations to thee, O noble teacher, who are devoid of attachment, the best among the good souls, and the embodiment of the essence of eternal bliss, the one without a second, who art infinite and ever the boundless ocean of mercy, whose glance like the shower of concentrated moonbeams has removed my exhaustion brought on by the afflictions of the world, and in a moment admitted me to the undecaying status of the Atma, the bliss of infinite majesty. Blessed am I have attained the consummation of my life, and am free from the clutches of transmigration. I am the essence of eternal bliss, I am infinite, all through thy mercy. I am unattached, I am disembodied, I am free from the subtle body and undecaying. I am serene, I am infinite, I am taintless and eternal.